are now walking in the Hurts world. You are now walking into Hurts world. Aye.
Discussion that we need to hear. Topics they be scared to touch. Parties say we do too much. Hurt, I think they scared of us. Meaning mixed filled with hits. How you turned up like a jit. You are now in Hurt's world. If you love her, had your chick. You are now in Hurt's world.
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 And y'all know how we do. It's me, the Big Hurt, and you tuned in to Hurt's World, man. Season 6, episode 5. If my voice sounds a little funny, it's because I'm congested. And I'm congested because I decided that I wanted to sleep with the fan off. I mean, with the fan on, with no shirt on. Because it was hot and it was warm. And I was like, I don't want to be hot when I go to sleep. And I woke up coughing, sneezing, all the good stuff. So if I sound a little weird, that's why. I'm probably one of the only people that's gonna get a cold, and it's about to be summertime. But you know what? It is what it is. If y'all want to send care packages, y'all can. Send the name brand good Dayquil stuff, not the stuff that's gonna have you sleepy in the middle of the day. Like send that good Dayquil that'll get you, it'll knock the sinuses out, and then I can still do some work, kinda. But then again, if you send me some Dayquil, if you send me some NyQuil and I take that, I can call in and I can be off work. We'll figure that out later. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to my guests from last week. Shout out to Kiera, Gerald, and Coco for kicking it with me last week. If you did not listen to that episode, go back, stream that one on your Apple. It's on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. So wherever you get your podcast, you can go stream that. Remember, if you're keeping score, Kendrick is winning the beef because Drake hasn't really responded, and he kind of ate him up on not like us. And if you don't agree, you probably don't really like music because Not Like Us is a whole bop out here. So, but that was last week. We're gonna continue our mental health or finish up Mental Health Awareness Month with 2 more dope therapists. One you may have heard from a previous show that I did, and the other one we're just going to introduce to y'all for the very first time. So stay tuned. Don't go nowhere, because we're gonna get your mental health right today. So we'll be right back with more Hurts World.
Promote your brand with Hurt's World Podcast. Explore our range of advertising packages with options starting at $25. For inquiries, please reach out to Hurt at hurtsworld24@gmail.com. That's HERCSWORLD24@gmail.com. Elevate your marketing strategy with Hurt's World Podcast today.
Welcome back to Hurt's World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Big Hurt, and if she says I'm not, that hoe's a liar. Without further ado, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let the guests introduce themselves right now.
Hi. Welcome back to another episode, as he told y'all. So I am Dr. Eboni Hines, and I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm excited to be on today.
Dr. Ebony, you made that face when I said she's when I said my tagline, like you were a little concerned. If you are concerned, you should be, because it's only gonna get worse from here. And last but certainly not least, y'all may remember this person from We Kicking It. She's been gone for a minute because she's been out here living life and getting married and getting doctorates. But I'm gonna let her tell y'all who she is now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. D. I'm a marriage and family therapist. It's been a minute. But I am also excited to be here. I have seen it all, done it all, spoke about it all, but yeah, so I'm really excited to be here.
Dope. So, two therapists. Let's get straight into it.
Okay.
Dr. Ebony, we'll start with you. Why did you get into therapy?
If I'm honest, I wanted to be able to get into people's minds and figure out why they do what they do. But that was 13-year-old me deciding what was it going to be when you got older. As I got older and actually got into training, learning, I wanted to become a safe place for people. I wanted to be able to support people as they go through life transitions, difficult moments, struggles with mental health, whatever it may be. I wanted to become a support system. And so I'm able to do that as a therapist. So, yeah.
Cool. Dr. D, what about you?
Um, well, mine is not as beautifully put as Dr. Hines, but mine was more so I knew I wanted to be a sex therapist. And so in order to be a sex therapist, I had to get a therapy license of some sort. And so that is kind of how I kind of got here. Now looking back, probably because there's a lot of dysfunction that I have dealt with in my family of origin. But now I do something that I like to see my clients win. I like to see people win. And so that's I would say I know what has kept me in the field, and that's seeing people win.
Okay. Why sex therapy? Just curious.
I don't know. It really was like I'll never forget. Like this day is like a very core memory in my brain. Like I remember me and my mom were like in the living room. I think we were like rearranging the furniture in the living room, and I was like, "Is there such thing as a sex doctor?" And she was like, "Yeah, like it's a sex therapist, like a Dr. Ruth type thing." And from that day forward, that was what I wanted to be. So that was literally how it happened.
Now, when you say sex therapist, like,
Mhm.
do you like? So when I think of sex therapist, I think like somebody in a room telling
Cool.
you
Yep.
like, hey, so your partner says she likes it like this, but you doing it like that, and y'all need to come together and switch it around so that y'all both enjoy it? Or is it more like, um, I don't, or is it more to it? Because I feel like that's
It's kind of like that,
okay.
but it's like a therapeutic way of introducing it. Like I've had clients whose partners have been a more on the conservative side, and they are like, back in the day, like I was getting it. And so it's like one thing I may prescribe for them is like everybody write out your fantasy, any fantasy that you can have for them to be able to see, okay, oh, we got a similar fantasy right here. Let's try that. So therefore people can connect. Or let's say like sometimes especially moms have like not necessarily connected with their body since having a baby, and so we're trying to get them to be more sexual, or they want to feel more sexual. Or I had a one client who they were very much like, I control how we have sex. Like, I'm gonna say how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna say how we're going to when we're going to do it. But they were also a victim of sexual molestation. So we kind at like a younger age. So we kind of like I was able to like talk about that and how like that trauma is showing up today. So it just really kind of depends on what's going on with the client. So then I can best assist.
So it's a little deeper than going to going to Victoria's Secret, buying that sexy lingerie, and hey, here it is.
Yes, it is. It's a
Okay.
lot more to it.
Okay. Dr. Ebony, what got you to wanting to become somebody's safe space as far as being a therapist?
Just realizing that a lot of people don't have it. Um, when you hear like those crazy news headlines of people doing something and wondering like why did that take place? Like it stems from a deeper root. Like people don't just do things to do them. There is something deeper underneath the surface. So um I guess that could be the cut and dry.
Okay. So like and I'm trying not to go. Fuck it, we can go extreme. So like so when you want it, like, okay, if somebody were on the verge of like a Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer,
Mhm.
Ooh.
you would
So,
want to be like you basically wanted to just find out like, hey, what got you to this point to where you felt like eating people was okay?
I mean, I would
Maybe.
definitely wanna know,
Okay.
but with serial killers or, something along those lines, there's different specialties that would be needed for that. In my case,
mhm.
I don't feel like I would be in a position to really give them what they need because, like, there's so much that would be necessary to kind of assist them on that level.
Yeah.
But no, oh my goodness.
I
Uh,
told you I would go
I
extreme.
am curious though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, what happened? Like, just a little curious. But I don't feel I would be, on that level to service them in that way. But I would want to know. I'm not gonna.
Okay. So we talked in last week. We had Gerald, who was a relationship therapist, Kiera, who dealt with childhood trauma. So,
Mm.
Dr. Ebony, what is kind of like your specialty or your focus area?
So my specialties lie with anxiety and depression. So because I mean it's the world is just plagued. And then you also have to consider like something like the pandemic happening.
Mhm.
People who had never experienced anxiety and depression entered a new version of themselves over these last like 3 to 4 years. So that's typically where my expertise lies.
And are you um and this question is for both of y'all.
Mm.
Or do y'all just come sit on my couch, or can y'all also come sit on my couch and prescribe medicine?
No. We're more of a come sit on our couch and we can
Yes.
help you find somebody who
Okay.
Yes.
um can give you some meds.
Yes, and
Okay.
truthfully, I now Meg is not what I jump to initially, because a lot of the times, like we missing different supplements, minerals that our body lacks. Like those sometimes that's like the route I want to go initially before I'm like, so let's talk about medicine,
Yeah.
like because sometimes I will say medicine is beneficial a lot of the time, but then you have those instances where there might be an adverse reaction and it makes things worse than what they were initially. And I'm just like, because then we're on the therapists are on the receiving end when clients get
Yep.
medication, like this medication made me do this and this happened. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I try to, yeah, like for me, when I'm thinking, like if we're discussing medication with a client, I try to tell them, I need you to give the doctor grace
yes.
because they got to see what levels you are at. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, most doctors kind of go to a go to, like Alexapro or, or something like that.
Yep.
But that may have an adverse reaction. So,
Mhm.
in a sense, you gotta I would say within the next like 3 to 6 months, like you got to give the doctor a chance to figure out what works for you
Absolutely.
because what may work for the majority may not work for you, or like you may need it may be helpful, but it makes you sleepy. So you know what I'm saying. So we may have to tweak it a little bit. But I know a
Mhm.
lot of times people are like, "Well, I need something now. I need something to work," and it's not necessarily how that works.
Yeah, and everything needs a little bit of time behind it.
Yeah.
Even when I'm like, I'm like kind of teaching myself, but also learning from other professionals about just holistic methods that we can provide to
Mhm.
clients. One of the top issues a lot of the time is like the vitamin D levels are like way lower than what they should be. And once you're like on a regular vitamin D3 supplement, a lot of times that is something that will improve depression and anxiety by itself. And so it just depends on what that person is going through. But you make a valid point. You definitely need to give like the providers who prescribe medications a little bit of grace because they're like, I mean, they're practicing. That's what it's literally about. So trying to find the right method for each client is that is a skill. So
They are dropping fucking knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get a little deeper. Um, so Dr. Ebony, you treat anxiety and depression. Um, what's special about anxiety and depression to you that it's like, hey, this is my focus, especially with people kind of coming out of the whole pandemic and coming out of COVID,
mhm.
um, and trying to, I guess, get back to 20, I guess, like they 2019 self.
Mm, wow. Um, so what's special, I guess, would be these are two of the things that severely mess with the mind, right? Anxiety is that thing that literally makes you fearful of something that's never even happened yet. And it keeps people in a chokehold. But then you have depression that kind of saps you from like who you are literally. It changes, the things that you normally like to enjoy or get into. It messes with your mind. Your brain is foggy. But it makes you sad. It makes you like isolate yourself. So it's basically pulling people away from their original versions of themselves. And so being able to work with clients on that and help them step by step get back to who they were. That's what's kind of making it special for me because I think it's the worst thing when you get away from yourself and you're trying to figure out how to get back. So that would probably be what makes it special for me.
Okay. And Dr. D, what makes it special for you when that client kind of just, or when that couple kind of just, damn, like this is like the best, do I want to say this is the best session we had? Like I feel like we 14 again. Well, maybe not that young, but I feel like we 21 again. We've been married 20 plus years and we ain't did that move in 6 years. Like, how do you feel when you get, clients like that?
I think it's a rewarding feeling. Like I said at the beginning, like I want to see my clients win, whether it's on an individual level or a couples level or family level. I want to see them win because for a lot of my clients, they are Black and brown. So coming to therapy is already a feat within themselves, and they kind of feel like they're on this like secluded island because they can't really tell nobody because people gonna be like, "Oh, you going to therapy? You crazy?" When in the sense, that's probably somebody that has contributed to their mental health in the first place. But it is a rewarding feeling. Like recently, this wasn't sex therapy, but I did have a student that was like LGBTQ or whatnot, but they asked me to attend their high school graduation. Like we was in the trenches when we first started, baby, like the trenches. And I stopped practicing with it at the end of 2013. And I mean, not 2013, 2023. So, like, even though that seems like just around the corner in therapy years, that's a long time. But like to see them and where they are and just reconnect with their family, like it was a beautiful moment to be like, dang, like I had a small part in this. So I think like kind of like to echo what Dr. Hines or Dr. Ebony said is it's just a beautiful thing for people to get to the point of where they feel like, wow, like I did this. It's almost like seeing your child ride a bike for the first time after y'all been trying for months. It's a beautiful thing.
Most definitely, most definitely well said by both of y'all. We're gonna go to break because we're gonna touch on that whole you crazy if you go to therapy thing, because I feel like that's something in our community that is getting better, but it could be a
Still
whole lot.
exhausting. Still exhausting.
Oh
Right, right.
yes.
So we'll be right back with more Hertz World. Stay tuned.
Promote your brand with Hertz World Podcast. Explore our range of advertising packages with options starting at $25. For inquiries, please reach out to Herc at hertzworld24@gmail.com. That's HERCSWORLD24@gmail.com. Elevate your marketing strategy with Hertz World Podcast today.
Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Big Hurt, and if she says I'm not, that Jezebel is a
Not a
liar.
Jezebel.
Well, I see every time I say "ho," folks look at me sideways, and then when I switch it to Jezebel, they be like, "Did you have to
So
go
you
like
calling her a
that?"
biblical
Oh,
hoe. That's what you calling her, a biblical hoe. Got it.
hey, I could have just said, "Well, a biblical hoe is better than a Lamar hoe."
I mean, this is true.
Wow.
I mean, it's biblical. Like, I
Oh,
don't know.
Jesus, Lord.
It is biblical. When you said Jezebel, I got a little tickled, but I was like, okay.
So I'm talking to Dr. Ebony and Dr. D today, and we're talking mental health. If y'all haven't noticed, if y'all have been listening to Hertz World for the last 2 years, y'all know I ain't playing with a full deck. And I go to therapy. So, what does that tell you? But no, so before we went to break, we kind of teased that in the Black community,
Mhm.
we don't look at therapy as something that we should do.
Mhm.
It's the whole stereotype is like, oh, white people go to therapy, or if you go to therapy, you crazy, or something's wrong with you. Like you don't need a therapist. You need to call Jesus, pray about
Mhm.
it. So how do y'all combat whoever wants to go first can go first? How do y'all combat that? Because I know like a lot of Gen Zers are in therapy. A lot of millennials are starting to go to therapy more, and then even the baby boomers, they starting to kind of get there. But how do y'all combat that whole? If you go to therapy, something's wrong with. I mean, like you crazy or that's a white people thing.
You
I
want to
think
go?
okay, I can go. I think you also have to think about it. I feel like, becoming a doctor, you're like, well, according to this research, but according to research, there has been a lot of racialized instances within the healthcare community and Black and Brown community. So a lot of that crazy has to deal with improper treatment, improper diagnoses.
Yep.
So you have to think about it. If our ancestors who experienced that in the 1900s, early 1900s, they're already going to be like, it's a no. It's a wrap. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they're like, it's a no because of what they have seen and what they
Mhm.
have, and what some people may have experienced. So in a sense, yeah, going to therapy, you must be crazy because there is this medical distrust between the Black and Brown community and healthcare. So
Mhm.
now, as you know, most African Americans or most Black and Brown communities are collectivists. So we moving as a unit. So if my great 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 grandmother said, "Don't go
Nope.
to therapy,"
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has it. Ain't nobody asked why. Ain't nobody, said nothing. That's just how it is.
Big
And
Mama said
so,
no, so
so
we
in
ain't
a
going.
sense, with Gen Z and millennials coming to therapy, they
Mhm.
are they're half scared coming to therapy, but I know for me, I like to figure out the why. I like to hear what's people's stories. How did we
Yeah.
get here? That's
Yep.
one of my first questions that I ask is, you could have went anywhere. How did you end up on my couch? How did you
Mhm.
get here? And so I think like that's one of the best ways to kind of describe when individuals of the Black and Brown community come to therapy is kind of understanding there is a long line of traumatic history that
Mhm.
that is showing up, that is present in this room, and we have to give acknowledgement to that. We have to give that a voice, so therefore we can move on.
Mm. That's good. So you saying how do I approach it is what you're saying,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
like the whole notion of if you go to therapy, you crazy. Uh-oh, did we lose him?
No, I'm good. Y'all keep talking.
Oh, okay. I was like, what happened? So my thing, I love that he mentioned like, oh, if you got something going on, you need to pray, you need to call Jesus. I'm the biggest fan of Jesus and therapy. Like I give me the t-shirt. Like that is so me. Like I'm all in for it. But also God created therapists. He needed us here for a reason. Like we didn't just fall out the sky, you know what I mean? So I would say that if you're feeling like you're crazy or you got something going on and what you've been doing is not working, therapy is simply a tool, and that's it. Like that's the cut and dry of it. um I also think it's getting to a point where it is a necessity. Like people need to have, again, a safe space to go to, because a lot of environments people grow up in, living in, working in, they're not safe. And I mean, they could be from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, a spiritual standpoint. Like it's a lot of ways that this could go. So, if something is not right and it is, resources there to help you move through it in a healthy way or eliminate it altogether, jump is what I would say. So that's kind of how I treat it. It's a resource to have. Doesn't have to be forever, but there's also nothing wrong with maintenance. So I'll throw that out too.
Okay, so I like the way you put that. Like I like the way you said it doesn't have to be forever,
Mhm.
but there's also nothing wrong with maintenance.
Right.
Um, because I feel like when you start therapy and you go, people feel like you're supposed to be like this is a lifelong journey. Like once you in there, you in there.
Mm-mm.
Um, but what I've learned is at some point I'm gonna have to like tell my therapist, "Hey, I love you, but I don't want to keep seeing you." And
Mhm.
it's not just because I don't want to spend the money, but at some point I should have enough of the tools to be able to cope with the things that I've been dealing with so
Absolutely.
that I don't necessarily have to come sit on this couch or be in this virtual session for years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, our job as therapists is to discharge you.
Literally.
Like that is literally our job. Our job is to discharge you. We don't. No offense. I love my old clients to
Yeah.
death.
Yes.
But you saying that you got to tell your therapist as a therapist, baby girl, baby boy,
Mhm.
we got to figure if you we
That's
got to
how
figure
progress
out.
is assessed. Like
Yeah,
we consistently are assessing your progress to know when this is the proper time for us to not necessarily cut ties, but for you to literally graduate and move forward with your life. You
yeah,
have everything you need to move forward. Now, you got some clients like they get with you and like they fall in love with you as a person, not just a therapist. So that might be the part that makes it a little bit harder. But I love that your thought process is already like, I love you, but I got all that I need. Like, we need clients who literally come in. Like, I like to process life thinking of the ending of something as I'm beginning it. Like, whether it was me going back to school when I said I wouldn't. And like, okay, what's the end goal? Like, what's my time frame on this? I'm always thinking of the ending of it.
yeah.
So like that's how I think a lot of people need to approach therapy. It's not meant to be forever,
It's not.
because if that's the case, a therapist can easily become a crutch.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who are crutches.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not going to say no names, but there
Mm.
is a possibility because being a therapist can be really easy money or it can be really hard money,
yeah.
especially when people are paying out of pocket, self
Mhm,
pay, because it's easy. Because you have to think if a therapist, if this is their sole time job,
mhm.
it's full time or whatever, that's how they eat.
Yeah,
So if I know depressed Kenny is coming and he needs to see me every week, I'm abusing my power because
yeah.
I'm not really helping him. But you get what I'm saying? Like it's a twofold because the thing about it is life is gonna life regardless.
Right.
But as a therapist, my job is to give you the tools So therefore, when a similar instances that happened in 2016 happens, we got the skill set. Now, like Dr. Ebony said, you may need to do maintenance. Oh, Dr. D, hey, I know what to do, but I'm a little
Yeah.
shaky.
Yeah.
Like, then we can talk through it and we can go about our merry day.
Yep.
But the goal is to give you the tools because a similar situation is going to happen. But
Yes.
I want you to be prepared for when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about it, give you the tools. So therefore, when it does, you'll be like, "Oh, I got this."
Yes. Pull out your toolbox.
Yes, therapy is like Dr. Ebony said. Therapy is a toolbox. We're giving you the skills. We're literally coping skills, anger management skills,
Yep.
boundaries, communication. Like
All the
we're
things.
giving them to you. We're trying to get you to stand on business.
Yes. Literally.
I ain't ready to graduate, and I don't know, like, so
But that's
it,
okay though.
I was in therapy for 5 years, Herc. Like I was in therapy up until like I'll say for my personal, I was in therapy for 5 years. What kind of made me wean off therapy is that the job I used to have did not have great insurance. So I was having to pay like out of pocket, $120 a session. At that time, I was also planning a wedding. So yeah, money, I'm not saying money
He
was
went
tight,
dramatic about that.
huh?
He went very dramatic when you said
But you get what I'm saying? Like I had other financial responsibilities, so that kind of winged me. But I was also already kind of graduating. Now I feel like I do probably need a maintenance session, Dr. Miss Weeks. I will be seeing you very soon. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of. But I also had to realize as a therapist in therapy of remembering, okay, Delisi, like you got the skill set, and I think that's the something, especially like this is just my hypothesis. Hurt as a black man, you found a place where you can be vulnerable. Like you don't have to have no toxic masculinity. Like if you want to
Mhm.
cry today, you can do that. Whereas
Yeah.
outside in society, you may not feel safe. So for my black men that I have worked with, when I was like, hey, like I'm not gonna practice, they were like, what do you mean? What do you mean we not you not practicing? Like you go like a lot of people like, you going somewhere else? Like can I come there? And I was like, no, like I need to finish my dissertation. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
married. Like I need a break,
Yeah.
or whatnot. But I could imagine for especially for black and brown people, once they get in therapy and if they have a great therapist, it is
Mhm.
hard for them to leave
Yeah.
because they can unzip this Superman, Superwoman, super person, and they can like hang that up and be their true selves. So therefore it can penetrate and they have that, just a safe space.
Yep.
Whereas outside, as soon as they leave out that therapist door, that place may not be place may not exist.
And
see
it
what's
can
up.
limit
Go ahead,
oh,
Dr. Ebony.
I
Go
was
ahead,
gonna
Dr. Ebony.
and it can limit uh if they ever decide to go back. And I have a recent I just got a new client probably about a month ago. Um and her therapist was out of state. But like she ended up coming across me. We got her started with services and she was like, would you she was like, "Do you feel comfortable, like, talking to my former therapist?" Like, she said she would really like to speak to you, and I was like, "I would love that," because a lot of people, like, they trying to make no connections or nothing like that, but, we had like, me and her former therapist had, like, the best conversation, and, like, she was surprised that the client even opened up and told me as much as she did, and so, like, that was so refreshing to me because of the way her discharge was handled, even though it was a hard transition because of how it took place, it kept the door open for her to seek therapy services following that. And so now, she's in a good space with me. So but yeah, the way we discharge matters a great deal. So
Mhm.
Well, let me go on record saying, Dr. D Berry, I ain't ready. So, we got to run it back. No, and as y'all were both talking, I was kind of kind of just listen. Well, I was listening, but I was also, putting myself in the same situation. where my therapist earlier this year was like, "Hey, I love y'all, I do, but I got this going, I got that going, I got this going, and these are y'all two options. Y'all can, go seek other therapists,
Mm-hmm.
or we can, we gotta meet once a month." And I was like, "Do you not know what I do? Like once a month? Like how you want me to survive?" And she's like, "Look, you know what to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know if you need me, I'm a phone call away, but you know what to do, and you can handle it."
Yeah.
And I was nervous. I was like, I mean, I hear you,
But I ain't
but
trying to hear
I
but
you.
want
I ain't
to.
trying to hear you.
I really ain't trying to hear you.
Right. I really ain't trying to hit it. And she was just like, "You will be okay." And so we've been going strong, once a month. Um we've had life been life and lately, so that this next session probably gonna be a little heavy, but the once because and just me being open and honest and transparent on the show like I always try to do. Like when I was like, do I want to go to I guess me being vulnerable was like, can I handle just talking to my therapist once a month? Do I need somebody that I can go to, twice a week or twice a month or,
Mhm.
whatever their schedule is? So I was kind of skeptical, like going to like the once a month thing, but then I had to take a step back and say, look, therapy isn't supposed to be, for the rest of my life. You gotta like she's teaching you um how to move and how to operate without her.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to just use what you've learned so far
Mm-hmm.
to get through. So it's not forever. But I know right now you can't
It's
you
necessary.
yeah, you can't graduate me. Mm-mm, I'm not ready.
And that's okay. But one day
So
you will be. One day
right,
you
one
will
one
be.
day I will. Now, so okay, let's in the topic of graduating therapists. Let's take a different angle.
Okay.
How do you know, or how would you advise someone if they're going to therapy but they feel like it's not working? Because I've seen like different commercials, like there's like a JG Wentworth commercial that says calling us is easier than firing your therapist. How would you advise somebody?
Wait a minute.
What? Stop.
They said what?
Calling us is easier than firing your therapist. It is because
Yes.
we all in your business. We know everything about you.
Well, and I think that was the gist of it, like, because like the lady sitting on the couch and she's like, I don't think this is working, and she's like, and the therapist is kind of like, I think you're speaking from more of that childhood trauma. Are you sure? And then she goes like, and then the voiceover says, hiring us is easier than firing your therapist. And then she goes, I think we need to go back to our silent sessions. And then they number pop up.
Mhm.
So how would you advise somebody who is like, hey, I don't feel like I'm getting the best out of my therapist.
Mhm.
I want to try something different.
Sometimes it's not a good fit.
True.
Sometimes it's not a good fit, but then sometimes people have unrealistic expectations for therapy.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes because if you don't do the work, think of it like this. Therapy is like going back to school. I'm gonna teach you the lesson and
Yeah.
you're gonna practice it for homework at home. The thing about sometimes with clients, they miss the homework portion.
Oh, I hate when they do it.
And
Oh,
I'm not necessarily a therapist that gives homework.
I am.
I'm not I will give it, but sometimes I'm more so about the concept of you allowing the information to marinate and you begin to practice it.
Mhm.
So it could be you striking a boundary with your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but we talked about boundaries last session. So I need you to put them in place. And
Yeah.
so I think sometimes people think like, I'm going to come in therapy. She going to fix me.
Yeah.
No. And I tell people all the time, my job is not to fix you.
Right.
My job is to create self-awareness. So therefore you can carry out the skill set to give you a better life. But also sometimes it's those individual clients. And I don't know if Dr. Ebony can agree, but sometimes that's when we realize medication may be needed.
Yeah.
We've been working together for 8 to 9 months and you're
Mhm.
still depressed. We need to go for a physical. We
Absolutely.
need to go to a physical. Let's go get a physical, get our blood checked, get our, get a physical so we can get some from the medical side because it could be a deficiency somewhere. It is time to start medication.
Mhm.
And so it's more so of like having those conversations, but at the time, there are multiple ways that therapy may not be effective. But a lot of times it's because people have unrealistic expectations of therapy and
Mhm.
feel as though they're supposed to come into our office and we're just going to fix them. And
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
And I also like to tell clients, like, please don't look at yourself as something to fix. You're not a broken toy that was thrown in the corner somewhere.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, it bothers me when people view themselves that way. But I would definitely say sometimes it really is not a good fit. I've had clients tell me, if I ask, like, so have you previously been in therapy before? And they'll say, oh yeah, I had to go through like 3 to 5 different therapists before I found you. I'm sticking with you. And I'm like, okay. But it's because something wasn't right. And like I'm telling you, clients know with me, they know like the first session whether or not they gonna move forward and like
Mhm.
really stick it out. And I'm like, yeah, they'll like I heard them say like, yeah, this is gonna be different. I can tell this is gonna be different. And like for me, that's the sweetest compliment because I'm like, something already clicked with you
Mhm.
in the first couple of moments that we started to speak or as we wrapped up the first like intake assessment and things like that. But yeah, chemistry matters. Like you really can't just be sitting across from somebody one who you cannot relate to.
Mhm.
And I think of a newer client maybe that I got a month ago. She had a client. She's actually mixed race, so she's a black white young lady, or just mixed. That sounds really weird. She's mixed, but she had an older white woman who was on campus who was a therapist for her. It wasn't working, and then she was like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to find something different." And then she came across me, and so we've meshed really well together. But I'm like, "Yeah, I get it." Like, somebody who's definitely far from your age, but they can't necessarily relate with even culture today. Like,
Mhm.
it don't add up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, chemistry matters. So, that's actually a great question.
All right, so this is going to determine how the rest of the show is going to go.
Oh Lord.
So there's only one correct answer to this question.
Oh,
I know, and before I hit record, I told y'all Hertz what is a safe space, all that good stuff, and it is, and it will stay a safe space. But if you get the answer to this question wrong, I am gonna look at you funny.
okay.
All right, is T Pain one of the greatest of all time? It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Yes. I'm a
Okay,
T-Pain fan.
just making sure. No,
I've
no,
been a fan for a long time.
Absolutely.
He's
Absolutely.
actually, I feel like, underrated.
very,
Very much so.
very okay. See, this is why and look. I tell y'all every week. Sometimes I just put up statuses and people are tagged in these different statuses and I know within the first I want to say like 4 or 5 minutes of the
Mm.
show if this is if me and the guests are gonna get along. I knew in the first 30 seconds. One, because Miss Dr. Ebony, when I said, I said your girlfriend, she was a whore. The face she made was like, what did I get myself into? but I like it, and she ain't run. And then Dr. D, Dr. D know I ain't had no sense from back when we kicking it, and so it is what it is. And then I was on her show, so she know I ain't got no sense. So, but no, if you don't think T-Pain is one of the goats, you probably need therapy because there's something wrong with you.
Because he can actually sing.
Right. And he can dance. And he can produce.
And he's really funny. And that's enough brownie points in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love T-Pain.
Yes.
Cool. We going to break. Go listen to we going to break. Don't go listen to T-Pain till the show's over.
Bartender, if you're gonna play something.
Oh no, I'm in love with a stripper.
Part 2. Part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Everybody knows that. Super cute face and a booty so fat. I'm in the club like shooting for sex because I'm in love and there's a well no fat.
Yes. See.
Bartender? No, I'm in love.
I love Bartender.
I'm in love. You know what? Bartender is like top 10.
I ain't mad at that.
But it's like I'm in love with a stripper. Part 2 is probably number 1, followed by
careful.
Maybe
what?
Buy you a drink.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm like, and I'm thinking about like putting there's a song on this album. It's on his first. It's on Epiphany.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna find it later. But
Backseat Action?
No. I was going Backseat but Backseat Action is top 5, top 10 too.
All of his features are. I listen to All I Do Is Win. I listened to that yesterday. The 88 will have me bringing back songs from 18 years ago.
Alexa, please. Wow.
I need Epiphany. There it is. The name of the song is called Sounds Bad.
I think I've heard it.
On Epiphany.
I've heard it.
Like after the show, go listen to Sounds Bad. And then if you in a mood to, if you trying to, set the tone for your Memorial Day weekend, or the weekend after, play your stomach. Don't ask no questions. Just play. See, just play your stomach. I guarantee. But we going to break for real. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. More Hertz World. Stay tuned.
Promote your brand with Hertz World Podcast. Explore our range of advertising packages with options starting at $25. For inquiries, please reach out to Herc at hertzworld24@gmail.com. That's HERCSWORLD24@gmail.com. Elevate your marketing strategy with Hertz World Podcast today.
Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, the Big Hurt, and if she says I'm not, her twerk win stinks. That was nicer.
It was.
So we've been talking mental health. Before we went to break, we were talking about T-Pain. But the next question I have for you guys is, how do you guys as therapists know when to turn down a client? Because I'm like, we talked about how, it's just not a right, the person in therapy, seeking therapy, isn't, they feel like you're not a right fit. But how do y'all know, or how do y'all interpret, like, you know what? I don't think I'm equipped to deal with you, and you need to go see somebody else. And how would you do that on a professional level?
Are we talking like skills? Like, I don't feel like I am capable.
I'm gonna say you're more than capable. You just get, like, in that first session, you just feel like we just not clicking. And the patient thinks y'all are great, and you just kind of like,
I don't like to prolong it, like, because you gotta like them. it sounds bad, but that's one of them situations where you have to rip the band-aid because you don't want them to get attached sooner and for any longer than they need to be from is at least from you as a provider. But if it's not going to mesh well, or like maybe you can tell ahead of time that they're not going to um be willing to trust the process with therapy, uh especially maybe your style, it's probably then you need to say something as soon as possible. If you know it's not going to pan out, it would be best to do it sooner than later, because it hurts a lot worse after they've started to kind of invest their time and you've invested your time, but in the back of your mind you like, ooh, so yeah.
I think I agree. I think you have to think the thing about like what I try to get people, my family and friends to realize. We are clinically trained to read
Mhm.
nonverbal cues.
Mhm.
Like you are speaking, just looking at me, and just sometimes you just realize that it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more so of checking yourself if I don't have the capacity. Whether it's like, let's say when I know for a long time after my grandmother and my cousin passed away, I could not deal with grief. I couldn't deal with it. I wasn't in the space
Right.
to deal with it. Or before I was working on my own self, before I was working through my own trauma, like certain trauma topics, I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it's just more so like knowing yourself, and like Dr. Ebony said, of like go ahead and be like, hey, I know I'm so honored that you feel as though I'm a great fit, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to provide you the services that you need. And so but what we're going to do is we're going to do our best to refer them out to people that we know can provide them quality care.
Yes.
So at least even if we do feel like it's not a good fit, we're going to give you a warm handoff of people. Like for me, I typically refer my clients to somebody Black, no matter what color they are, because obviously you came to me, you kind of liked how I vibe. So I'm going to try to give you
Yeah.
somebody who's going to provide you with that similar experience.
Yeah, and I think honestly that you doing that for yourself is like great self-care, but it's also putting that boundary in place. And we don't talk enough about boundaries being in place, even as therapists. We
Mm-hmm.
talk to clients about it. We talk to other people when we're like coming from an educational standpoint. But like, I love that you put that boundary in place for you, because I imagine that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I said this last week.
Mhm.
Um, I am thoroughly struggling when it comes to setting and enforcing boundaries when it comes to people, places, and things. I
Yeah.
know that's a noun, but I'm it is what it is. Um, like I know that I need to set them,
Mm.
but I'm also kind of that friend who I'm the strong friend in the sense that I take everybody else's problems or trauma and I try to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's time for somebody to kind of lean on me, I kind of just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't, or like, oh, I'm good, don't worry about it, or I don't want to talk about it, or I'll deal with it, I'll get over it.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Have you experienced being let down a lot, like in your life?
Get them, Dr.
I'm
Ebony.
just
I,
curious.
kind of, yeah. Like, I kind of have, yeah.
That's
I
a
feel like
Yeah,
I
great
have.
response.
it's kind of become a defense mechanism for you, like, um, because you've been let down, or it just feels like, anytime that you have said, like, I need this or I'm going through this, people weren't present to provide what you needed. And so, in an effort to kind of keep yourself protected from getting hurt again, you was like, nah, don't even worry
It
about
ain't
it.
safe. It ain't
Yeah.
safe. And
Yeah.
I think also to kind of like piggyback off of what Dr. Ebony says, we also have to think as a Black community, we are enmeshed.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody's business, but that's also due to like slavery and like separation of family. And
Yeah.
so I tell people it's the hardest boundaries to put, I think the hardest therapeutic intervention and skill to learn for Black people in itself is boundaries.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of times they get such a bad rap. But I
Mhm.
really try to change the narrative of how people see boundaries as like boundaries are how we honor ourselves.
Yes.
It's really highlighting this is my cup. I
Yeah.
got this much left. This much space to give. And if once I get there, we're done.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I think but I think sometimes people don't be ready for the pushback that happens when you start to enforce boundaries. Because the first thing is people are like, oh, you change. Oh, you think you better than everybody. But I want you to know a hit dog gonna holler.
Yes,
But
they
people
are.
are necessarily upset because they no longer have access to you.
Mm-hmm. What's that saying? The only people who are mad about you having boundaries is the ones that was benefiting from you not having them.
Exactly.
So when
They
you
no
don't,
longer have access to you. So therefore they upset. They
yeah,
upset.
because it's like, well, you did it last time. Well, this is the new me.
Exactly. Do you
Hello,
know
how
how
are
hard it
you?
was enforcing boundaries with
Yeah.
my mama? My mama, no. There have been plenty of times I have had been in mid conversation, click. All right, mom. She'd be like, I would never hang up on my mom. Not to be disrespectful, mom. I love you. And she know I take a bullet for it today. But
You be hanging up on your mama?
I have.
I ain't got there yet. I came close. God knows I love her.
Right, because I be like,
It's more so. I'm not gonna say it's like a click, but it's more so of like a okay, mom, click.
Yeah. Gotta
Because
go. Gotta go. I'll
I
talk to you
realize
later.
I've reached my section,
Yeah.
or this conversation is not getting anywhere. But
Mhm.
I do think that me being a therapist and having some boundaries with my mom has become, I would say, a better mom because
Mhm.
there's certain things that she has done
Yeah.
differently
Yeah.
that I can be like, my mom is, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom is not going to go to therapy. I know that. She didn't
My
told
mama
me
won't either. I feel you, Dr. D.
she not going, but
mine
I
either.
can realize like certain nuances.
Yeah.
Like one of my sisters got into it, and then my mom called me and wanted to talk about the situation. I was
Aw.
like, because even though my mom ain't gonna say she's sorry. She ain't gonna say she's
My
sorry.
mama apologizes now.
What?
I am grateful. I'm grateful. Not our mamas that gave birth to therapists, but still,
Okay. Exactly. But my mama was able to like process it.
yeah.
And that was a different thing. And so I was able to have that conversation where, well, mom, this is this. Oh, mom, this is this, or and it's more so of she is opening up. But you just have to think about like there's a lot of things as a therapist that I have realized like
Yeah.
while my mom was in utero, my grandmother's oldest child was murdered and some of her grandchildren were murdered. And then 2 years after my mom was in the world, my grandfather got hit by a drunk driver. So my grandmother did not have the mental capacity
Mm,
for my mom. And
yeah.
as a therapist, I know the first 2 years in your life are pivotal. So you get what I'm saying? Like, and then my grandmother was not a single parent, had 6 kids, had to take care of one of her grandkids as her, like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This
Wow.
was in the 70s. Like,
She done had some life
Yeah,
happen to her for real.
right.
on top of the fact, my grandmother was born in 1932, so no telling how many people she done seen hanging from a tree. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I can now accept that and understand that, and the woman my mom is today. Again, I love my mom. Not
Yeah.
discrediting my mom. I love her down.
Yeah.
And below me, long time. Love you, long time.
I knew you
But
were gonna say
there
that.
are certain cultural things that I see happening within my own family, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm.
I mean, because I remember maybe I want to say like a year or two ago. I was going through like my dad had just like recently after my dad had passed. Um, if y'all know where I work for that people that the Globe people. We can't say their name because they send me a cease and desist. I'm not paying that shit. Just know I work there.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff was going on there. Coworkers were um kind of getting on my nerves, getting ready to go through a divorce.
Life was
Starting,
life.
yeah, like starting this new relationship, all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, mama called me at like it's like it may have been like 11 o'clock in the morning on a random Wednesday. And she's
Mm.
like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm at home. I took a mental health day." What the hell is that?
Oh, sorry.
I said I couldn't do the job to the fullest of my extent. So I told my boss I needed a mental health day. Oh, you better than me. I wish we would have had those. I can't afford to take no mental health day. I say, Mama, I'm sorry that your job done offer that, but I needed a day.
A sick day.
Um,
A sick
Yeah.
well, you always gotta be at work, but I don't have to do that. So I took a mental health day. And she's like, well, I just don't, Mama, I love you. I'm gonna call you later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, that was like a year or two ago. But it just so happened that Friday, my mama called me because me and mom we talk every day. Whether
Same
we
here.
text, phone call, FaceTime, whatever. We talk every day, and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm in the bed." She's like, ain't you supposed to be at work?" I said, "Yeah, I needed a mental break."
They be needing to know why we ain't at work.
Baby, they know if you want to know somebody's schedule, ask their mama.
Right,
They mama or their grandma.
Or grandma. Oh my
right.
gosh,
They
grandma.
know their schedule like the back of their hand.
And she was like, "Oh, you okay? You need to talk?"
Aww.
I
Growth,
said,
in the word of Issa Rae.
I
Growth.
said, "Oh," I said, "Nah." I said, "I talk to you later." She said, "Okay, if you just call me if you need me." Is this the same woman that whooped my ass when I was 7? Because what's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
But no, it's just one of them things. Like they'll never actually go to therapy themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
because we're in therapy and they seeing the younger generation doing it, they're becoming more understanding of
Yes.
Yeah.
what's
Yes.
going on. So
You will tell
shout
any
out to our
to
mamas.
do.
Yay! Shout out to the mama Emma Lowe.
So question for y'all: y'all are the therapist.
Mhm.
Are y'all now? It's a two-part question. Are y'all the only therapist in y'all friends groups? And do you find yourself becoming or turning your therapist hat on when you with your friends, or do they come to you like, "What do I do?"
I'm not the only therapist in my friend group. It's a
Okay.
couple of us actually. And then I hate that second question. So what happened is like if you ask me a question, I'm being considerate. I don't understand. Like, why one of my friends I asked her, I think I asked her, I was like, how are you doing? Or something like that. And she's like, don't therapize me. I was like, first of all,
Oh Lord, my wife had told me that on several.
it's not a word. You can't make that a word.
It's not a word.
But like if you feel like you care too much, they get nervous. Like so maybe my head doesn't turn off. I don't know.
I can kind of echo that. I in my immediate friend group,
Uh-huh.
yes, but a large group of my friend group we worked at the same mental health facility, so they kind of know.
Yeah.
But in my like broader friendships, I am not. But when my friends come to me now, sometimes I went to like one time I went on this like retreat, and I was just like. And they were like, turn it off. And I was like, I can't. Like, I'm trained to like make connections.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to like, because I'm all about what's the story.
Right.
Like, even in the work as I do as a mental health consultant, I tell like the people I supervise, I need to know the story. What's the story? Because that's gonna guide us how we go. But
Yes.
I think like for me, I typically ask my friends, okay, do you want regular D or do you want therapist D? So therefore I can know
Really? That's good. I'm gonna start using that.
I was like, do you want regular D or therapist D? Because then I can know how how you want me to show up. Now,
Right.
sometimes they'll say they want regular D, but really they want therapist D.
Don't say
So,
that.
because
Don't
I've
say.
had times
I'm
where,
not mature enough for that. I'm not mature enough for that.
but sometimes there have been ones where I was just listening and my friend was like, you're not talking. You typically say something. I was like, oh, you want therapist D. Okay, okay. I was like, but, it's just kind of like, but I do try to practice therapeutic skills like with one of my friends that I talk to every day. Like, let's say something that made me upset, we will call each other and be like, do you have capacity to hear me vent?
Love that. That's so considerate. Oh my gosh.
And so something
Yeah.
typically it's like, yeah, I do. And so then I'm like, let me just but I think like even then, I think like for me, even in my relationship, especially in my marriage, I try to be more intentional of like asking my wife. I don't want to seem like I don't ask her how her day is, but to be more intentional about it. Because sometimes I'll be like, "Let me tell you about my day," but I really some days I'm like, "Okay, babe, well, tell me about you. What's going on with you? How was your day?" Like we try to do those check-ins because even though I am a therapist, there's certain things I'm like, "Okay, Delicia, get your life together." I feel like my ADHD just like kind of took that conversation and like ran with it.
Followed you though. You followed you.
Well, no, because I've always wondered, like, if in that therapy lane, like, can you turn it off? Like, do you analyze your friend group? Do you be like, girl, you need to be on somebody's couch, but you don't really want to hurt their feelings, but at the same time, it's like it's something wrong with you. And then, on the flip side, like with my friend group, like I said, I'm the strong one. So like everybody kind of just comes to me like, hey, can I dump this on you? Or do you have the space for me to like unload this? And 9 times out of 10, like, yeah, what you got? And I listen, I take it on. Um, I probably shouldn't,
I
but I
was going to
do.
say
Go ahead.
I was just gonna. So when do we start boundary setting? We're
yeah,
excited for you. When do you start?
Um,
you got to
we
say no.
we working on it.
Okay.
We a
I
work in
heard Cat
progress.
Williams when you said that. You got to tell them no.
And sometimes what you could do is this is a blanket way. You just send a text message out to your friends and be like, right now, y'all, like, just pray for me. I'm just kind of sifting through some things. Then they won't bother you because then they don't know what's going on, but they're like, oh,
And they don't want to step on no landmines.
exactly.
My
That's a blanket way to do it.
my
Sometimes
friends are
you do be going through stuff, but since you are kind of struggling with the enforcing of boundaries, that could be a way to be like, okay, like, all right, hurt is let me find somebody else.
okay. Well, we gonna try that. Because y'all listen to the show anyway. So if you get a text message that says, "Hey, I need a minute,"
Yes.
and we'll talk later. And if y'all listen to the show, fuck you. What type of friend are you? You supposed to be my friend. Listen to the show. I'm just playing. Y'all know I love y'all. But no. So like, set boundaries, set healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Talk a little bit before we go to break. Talk a little bit about you guys being therapists, but also having therapists and how that has helped you become a better therapist.
Woo, baby! Shout out to Miss Weeks, baby. I in grad school, I would say this, and I'm not sure if this is the same experience you had, Dr. Ebony, but in grad school they encouraged it, and I was like, I don't need therapy, I'm good. But it wasn't until I was this was like I had graduated. This was like maybe like 2019, and I got triggered in a session, and I was like, I don't know if I'm a Lion King fanatic. And you remember when Rafiki is like, it is time. And that was what was happening. I was like, it is time for me to enter into this next phase. And it was more so for me, therapy was so therapeutic because I was able to talk about all the different things that I had been through, but
Mhm.
also make the connections of like, oh, this is this, or oh, this is this. And it was more so like a space for me to like get it out. So therefore I could sit through because it was just like stuff. Like it's popping out the seams. And I was like, no, I'm okay. And I think like going through therapy was such a great experience for me because I was able to like heal my inner trauma
Yep.
or my childhood trauma, but then also it just made me a better person. Like when I turned 30, I went through a major breakup, but I was like in a deep space. Like I still wanted to celebrate myself, even though it was in the middle of COVID. But I was just still like, this is what I want to do. This
Yeah.
is what I'm going to do. Before I met my wife, I was like, I don't think I should date. And my therapist was like, you can't get better at dating if you don't date. And I was like, okay, girl, you're right. And then, a couple months later, I met my wife. It was just so for me, it was a very much a transformative thing. Which I knew therapists had the power to do that, but to actually see it
For
and
yourself, yeah.
be in that space, it was like this is, and I didn't have to be a therapist. Like
Yeah.
now, of course, I would use like therapist jargon. Like I remember saying, I need to work on my emotional reactivity, and she was like, "That's such a therapist thing." to say. But I would just go in there like a regular person. Like I would just be like, "Let me tell you what happened today," or like there was like, let's say an incident happened in my life. I would like send her a text message like, "Hey, can you add this to our agenda of things I need to talk about?"
Yeah.
Because no offense, my ADHD gonna make me forget it. So let's talk about it. But it was just more so of a way for me to reconnect with myself so therefore I could be the best version of myself. And I think that's why, honestly, in my 30s, I'm 33 now,
Mhm.
I'm just like in a
Baby.
really good space. Like I'm just really at a really good space, but I had to really sit with myself. And I think
Mhm.
that's the one thing, and this is like I'm taking y'all all up through the solar system. But I think that's why 2020 was such a horrible year for a lot of people's mental health because it made everybody's trauma and everybody's experience. You sat at the
It
conference table.
exposed, yeah. Yeah.
They were like, you remember like in Space Jam, how they were like, they were small and then it got big. And so it was like, that's what was happening with everybody in 2020. It was like, oh, dang, like, y'all done got a little big. And it's like, yeah, we've been waiting on you. And I
Yeah.
think that's why everybody's like, my mental health, because the
Lying dormant.
resources were not there.
Mhm.
You had to sit in everything that you done been through. And
That's your problem.
it was on people's mental health. So as a therapist in therapy, I recommend it. It is a beautiful thing.
I still recommend it. I don't have a therapist yet, but that is something I'm looking forward to experiencing. But I love the experience that you've had thus far. I feel like I'm really going to enjoy it, but I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the back of my mind feeling like something needs to happen for me to go, or like because I guess life is just for the most part, it's just smooth. And I'm often telling myself if something like irritates me or like something is just kind of interrupting how I flow, I'm like, okay, what do you need to do in this situation? And I'm like, don't be telling your clients to do stuff and you not doing it. So I'm like, I follow my own advice,
Yeah.
literally. And I think that's the one thing that has me like, but you still should probably go and get your own though. Like
Remember, Dr. Ebony, it doesn't have to be forever. You can
right.
do monthly sessions.
Love that.
Doesn't
But
have
yeah,
to be
that's me
forever.
as of now. But yeah, I think this is probably gonna be the year. But yeah, like not I haven't had the experience yet, but I love being able to hear because my other friends, not all of the ones that are therapists, but like a good chunk of my friends have their own therapist. And like I just really love that for them. Like they know if I'm supporting them if nobody else is, as far as like having their own provider to go to. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's an interesting concept. I will say that.
Yeah, you made me laugh when you said like the therapist jargon. That because I can see me now. I can see me now.
Maybe that was, she was like, "That is such a therapist thing to say," and I was like, "Well, I'm trying. Look, I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm
Right,
talking."
I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
And I know that's gonna be in the back of my head. Like, what she just write down? What she say? Like, oh my gosh, the whole thing. So yeah.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Get you a therapist. We gonna go to break because y'all need to air out a little bit. I don't know. Stay tuned for more Hertz World.
Promote your brand with Hertz World Podcast. Explore our range of advertising packages with options starting at $25. For inquiries, please reach out to Herc at hertzworld24@gmail.com. That's HERCSWORLD24@gmail.com. Elevate your marketing strategy with Hertz World Podcast today.
Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, the Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not,
Okay,
um,
I'm not everybody's favorite. Look,
Love it.
boundaries.
See,
That's
what
funny.
doctor? I guess I'm not everybody's favorite.
Oh my goodness.
Because
It's the
see,
growth for
look,
me.
see, Dr. D saved y'all this week because I'd be ready to insult you, motherfuckers. But Dr. D said I don't have to be everybody's favorite.
Look, you just told us you tired, and you still trying to be everybody's favorite.
You're right. Your twerkwear still stink though. But no. So we've been talking mental health all episode, man. I hope that y'all have gotten something from this. Whether it be, go to therapy, whether it be setting healthy boundaries, whether it be it's okay to not be the strong friend all the time. It's okay to not be okay. So let's see. We need the culture aspect of the show. Let's see what we gonna do. Like the celebrities have been kind of quiet this week. Everybody been acting like they got sense, which is very fun, which is very odd. Which probably means in June they gonna act a damn fool.
Who keeping the
Well,
track of the calendar? Where we at now for May?
I know.
it's
I was
probably gonna
thinking
it's
about
probably gonna
that.
be Diddy again.
Yeah.
I think
It's,
Diddy
it's
and the Drake and
Drake and
Kendrick.
Kendrick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
think they're gonna take the calendar up this month.
let's see. Steph and Aisha just had another baby.
Oh, new baby's
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
New baby's here. Speaking of Lion King, for
North.
the first time in 30 years,
Yeah.
Timon and Pumbaa were live on stage with
Uh-huh.
North and Jason Weaver.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jason Weaver and North. Now, I just want to know, and if y'all get nothing else, North is living her best life. But think about North parents. Her
Mhm.
mama's a Kardashian, and her daddy is borderline crazy.
I love Kanye. That is
I
like
do.
my
I love
dream
Kanye.
client. Honestly, I have always said I just want to do therapy with Kanye because I
How would you?
really do feel like he was not able to properly grieve his mom's passing,
Definitely.
and and that and that was his person. Like that was his person. And I feel like ever since then, but I do also think that, when he goes on his rants, it's typically around the time of when his mom passed or her birthday, which is finna to come up. I think her birthday's in July.
Okay.
I think
Um,
so too.
and then I think she passed like almost around like Thanksgiving time. But I said I would love to do therapy with Kanye.
I've always said that Kanye needs therapy. He needs a good therapist.
Mhm.
Because I like just like most people, um, who may or may not want to admit it. I love Kanye. Like Kanye as a rapper, as a producer, as a person. It's probably to me, it's like a dope individual until he goes on one of them rants and he started not making sense. But overall, I feel like Kanye is a decent person. Um, so he just need a little therapy.
I think you
Um,
need the right therapist and the right medication management. I think you need like a black doctor and a black therapist because
and a
Exactly.
yes,
black
he said he
woman.
is navigating the world as a black man.
Now, Herc, that was not necessary.
What?
He said, he said, and a black woman.
He does. See, look,
He's acting like he happy, okay? So that's what I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still fond of the woman that he was with that he talked about in College Dropout. She been a
Oh,
Delta, so she throwing that dynasty sign. Shout out to the Deltas. Um, you know, I got a thing for the Reds. I had a thing for the Zetas, and then it switched to the Reds. But now it's slowly becoming an SG Rose. Y'all don't mind me. I just be thinking my thoughts out loud. What?
I'm just listening, trying to see what
Dr. Ebony is like,
I just be thinking my thoughts. Like, sometimes
yeah.
it switches. It switches from, the Reds, like, because for a while I didn't like the Reds because a Delta broke my heart. And it was my fault, but she still broke my heart. She wasn't supposed
but
to
it
leave me.
wasn't her fault then. It was your fault. You
It
just
was
didn't
her.
like
Literally
you
told
didn't
on
like that she
yourself
stood on business.
She
had
left
boundaries.
me.
She had boundaries.
for a reason. I'm assuming.
It was, that's
Yeah,
not important. She left me.
that is very important. What do you mean?
That's not important. She
You
left
tell
me.
your therapist about this because what she say or he say? What he say? What they say?
She said she said I sound like a damn fool.
Yep.
And I know I sound like a fool, but in my mind, I'm
You
not.
want to live in Never Never Land.
Who am I to
Okay.
argue with a fellow provider?
Okay. I'm gonna let you have that one. But no, it was the Reds, but then she, she hurt me.
Yeah.
Then I was married to a Zeta, and we all know how that ended.
Uh-oh.
And recently it's been a toss up between the SG Rose and the Reds. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Like I said, nobody's really been acting crazy this week.
That's good.
I know.
Which is good. Huh?
Can we appreciate that?
We can for to a certain extent because we need y'all to act like y'all got some sense.
Yeah.
But then again, I also need y'all to act a little crazy so I can talk about you. But kudos to y'all for acting like y'all got some sense this week. Wait a minute. Oh wait, let me check the DMs because there's always a story in the DM.
Okay.
Oh my word!
And somebody sent me a video that I should talk about. Let's see.
Oh sugar.
Well, and this isn't really news, but there was a little girl at a kindergarten graduation,
Mm-hmm.
and she got her diploma. Now, keep in mind, the little girl looks as if she didn't want to be there, but she went up there, got her diploma, and she went to the mic, and she was supposed to say what she want to be when she grow up.
Mm-hmm.
This is what she said.
I want to be pregnant.
She want to be pregnant. I think she meant president, but she said pregnant.
Or did she want to be a mom?
There's
maybe
and Mother's Day did just pass.
Maybe a mother.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing with the exception of the couple fights that have broken out at high school graduations here in Memphis, but we don't want to highlight that.
Have there been any this year? I don't think there have been.
Hamilton.
Okay.
There was one at Hamilton, And then like, cause like the video, and this is how I know, like, cause the video, he walked past, he had got his diploma, walked past the dude, he looked at the dude, and he threw his diploma at the person, and then the fight broke
Got it.
out.
So he just said, "Let me walk first. Let me get my paper."
Let me get
And
this paper
then-
first. It's on site.
yeah. Well, he stood on
Um,
business.
and then there was a fight at a kindergarten graduation in Covington.
Mm.
That's from my hometown.
Oh,
No, not Fayette County. I'm sorry. It was in
Okay,
Fayette
okay.
County.
That's why I was
Fayette
like,
County.
I ain't heard about that. My mama would have
It,
called me about
it
that.
was in Fayette County. I'm sorry.
I didn't call my
Oh,
best friend. She'll know.
let's
She from there.
we'll talk about this. Two things. Because a doctor, did you work in the school system?
I did.
All right. So parents, this is a PSA for parents of small children.
okay.
Because your child goes to school and he or she may go to school every day, and they may have perfect attendance, or they may not, but they may have perfect attendance, but they may not get the best grades or whatever it is. Please don't go to your child's award ceremony and act a goddamn fool because your child did not get an award at the award ceremony. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Oh, I saw that the mom went off about her child not getting an
Oh,
award.
I think it was in Atlanta. The mom goes off cussing, fussing at this child's award ceremony because her child did not receive an award.
mhm.
I said all that to say, us as America, as a nation, have gotten really goddamn soft. Just because you go to school does not mean you're gonna get an award for something.
Yeah.
Everybody does not need a participation trophy. This is not that. Maybe that child grades wasn't good enough to get AB honor roll. Maybe they missed a day of school. Maybe they didn't have good citizenship. Maybe they weren't the best dressed. Maybe they were tardy. Whatever it is. Just because your child went to school does not mean they should get an award for going to damn school. They supposed to go to school.
Mhm.
You're not gonna get a participation award for going to school.
But people typically do get perfect attendance awards.
Mhm.
Well, she probably had perfect attendance because the way the mama talking, she probably missed a day or two.
Oh boy.
But
So
typically, how they do it is, I know where I'm from, you get an invite if your child is getting a award. So everybody doesn't have to come.
exactly, because I mean, like I would, and I know when I was going to school, like they would tell us, like, hey, tell your mama, tell your daddy, we got an awards program. You getting this award and that award, and they can come if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's how they do. They would send out, the class would have to go obviously for the teachers, but if you were getting an award, you were given like an invitation. Your parents will receive an invitation, so therefore, you get what I'm saying? Like your parents were hot, they would know, oh, such and such is getting an award.
Yeah. So, stop embarrassing your kids at that, because now your kid needs therapy for something that happened in kindergarten. Because now they on the internet because your ass wanted to act stupid at the award ceremony.
You'll be
Mhm.
surprised at how many things people remember
Yeah.
subconsciously from kindergarten, first grade, second grade.
And never know when it's coming to the surface.
Yeah, I heard it from therapists. The other thing that I really that we need to highlight before we get up out of here and go to break, I want to know what that security guard said to Kelly Rowland for her to make that "I'm about to beat your ass" mama face on the red carpet.
Well, I watched a person who has a hearing disability read the lips, and
Mhm.
apparently it sounded like the woman was talking to her in an inappropriate manner, and that's what she was saying. Don't talk to me like that. And the woman continued to talk to her, and she was like, don't talk to me like that. You're not my mother. And
Yeah.
that's apparently what was happening.
Oh.
at the situation. Based off what the clip that I saw that was being interpreted by someone who is who is very profound in reading lips.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like I told y'all last week, stop fucking with people.
Exactly.
You know, there's a whole clip from last week that's circling on social media where I specifically say stop fucking with people. Go watch that clip. It's up. I promise you it's up. Go watch that and then go watch the Kelly Rowland and see how she got that woman all the way together as a black mama.
But you
We
know,
going.
I've seen
Go ahead.
another clip with that same security guard. Somebody else was going, so she don't need to come back. But it's too. I think I saw another clip where somebody was going off on her again. So
Maybe she don't know no better. She needs a new job or a therapist.
or she
Something.
may be sending no business if people don't like it. I don't know. The world, look, I guess we'll never know.
I don't know, but stop fucking with people, especially Kelly Rowland, because she fine. We go on a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Hertz World.
Promote your brand with Hertz World Podcast. Explore our range of advertising packages with options starting at $25. For inquiries, please reach out to Herc at hertzworld24@gmail.com. That's HERCSWORLD24@gmail.com. Elevate your marketing strategy with Hertz World Podcast today.
Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, The Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not, it's okay. Because Dr. D said so.
Best one yet.
I'm gonna let y'all have that one. I'm gonna let y'all have that one. Next week, I'm gonna have all type of insults. But this week, because Dr. D said it, I'm gonna let it ride. We've come to my favorite part of the show where we are going. It is called Songs You Know You Should Not Have Been Singing as a Kid. Now, these are songs that you know word for word. I'm talking about ad libs, front, back, all that. You sang full out with your chest, but you know good and damn well you should not have been singing this song before the age of 18. I don't remember what last week's song was, but this week, just know I got one. Dr. Ebony says you look so perplexed. We're gonna go with you first.
Oh goodness. You said before the age of 18?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Now it could be raunchy, it could be
Just no judgment. You said this was a safe place. Okay. Oh God. So I had no business, one, singing anything R. Kelly, two, probably Greatest Sex.
Oh,
I said no judgment.
No, that is a banger. I like that one. We haven't got that one yet. I mean, we get R. Kelly, but we've never gotten like Greatest Sex. So kudos to you. Okay. She went in her bag for that one.
Oh, child.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Come on, Dr. D, because I need to start.
Dr. D, come on.
Well, first of all, anything Pretty Ricky. He came out when I was in high school. Pretty Ricky was
Yeah.
And then anything 112. Peaches and Cream was my jam back in the day. Talking about Peaches and Cream. And then it wasn't until I was at the beauty shop and that song came and I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't, y'all are gonna judge me. Please don't. But it's a safe space. I didn't realize what the Peaches and Cream was until like a couple weeks ago.
Listen, Linda.
I was like, oh my God.
Let's talk about Salt Shaker with the Yin Yang twins. I had no business. So we had no business.
Mm-hmm.
No bit, none. None.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. All right. So I was gonna use this week's song was gonna be "I'm in Love with a Stripper" Part 2 by T-Pain.
I was in high school, yeah.
Yeah.
But it
That was
wasn't really that. Well, it kind of was a little.
that was gonna be it. But before I hopped on, I was scrolling through Instagram, and shout out to Brittany and Leah, who always has like the dopest stuff in her stories. But the caption was, or the story to Instagram was it really a Boys to Men song if Wanye wasn't singing like one of his neck veins was about to bust out of his throat? So I had no business at all singing "On Bended Knee" to these women or to these girls at 14 after I done got caught talking to another girl at another school, and this girl found that I was talking about her to that girl, and I was going to the dance with this girl and going to the skate rink with this girl. I ain't had no business singing no "On Bended Knee" trying to say I was sorry. I wasn't sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I was just being, toxic. That's what I'm just gonna. I'm gonna call it. I was.
We are proud.
I can admit I was. Do I want
That's
to?
not pocket.
Y'all know I like to be honest and transparent. Um, let's just say at 16, there was a girl who I was dating who made me mad or hurt me, or we hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to get back at her, I smashed her cousin, and then after I smashed her cousin, I smashed her sister, and then I smashed her. So I kept it in the family. But
you're toxic.
I was very I was very toxic at an early age.
Don't
But
tell nobody else that. Don't tell nobody else that.
I've grown with therapy and being mature. I've grown. Now I'm just gonna smash her grandma.
Oh,
Cause no.
what you?
Well, no,
Dr. Ashby has left the building.
well, no, because everybody love their grandma. People be like, oh, cause I be on Instagram all the time. Like, the next dude that cheat on me, I'm gonna sleep with his daddy and make him my stepson. Cool.
Oh, so you pulling an Offset? I miss my grandma. Type. Oh, got it.
I mean, I'm gonna be your granddaddy. Make sure you come to Sunday dinner.
Good day.
Doctor, why you looking like that?
Oh, disbelief. Nothing too crazy.
I was toxic that was the old me. I'm working, I'm better now.
Okay. So have you got your karma for that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's one thing I tell my wife all the time. I said, one thing about karma, she don't miss.
She don't.
She don't miss.
She don't miss. Yeah, like, so I think after that, she ended up with never mind. She ended up with a guy I knew. They're happily married now.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all though. We gonna leave it at that. We going to break because if they hear this, they gonna know it was me. Stay tuned for more Hertz World. We'll be right back.
BTM Poster Pros is now open. 4466 Elvis Presley Boulevard, Suite 103. Taking pre-label drop-offs from UPS, FedEx, and USPS, and also offering affordable shipping rates. We're open daily, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Check out our website, btmbs.com, or come in to see what we have to offer.
All right.
Welcome back to Hurt's World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, The Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not, that's okay. It's okay. She doesn't have to like me. She probably likes Charlamagne the God. And that in itself is bad. Anyway, so this is the part of the show where I give the guest an opportunity to basically tell the people where you can be found if you want to be found, what you got coming up, any milestones, things that you want to highlight, and then a quote that you live by. So let's go Dr. D first this time.
Okay. Well, I am not currently practicing, so you can't really find me. I'm around, but I'm not practicing. But I do want to say that for a lot of jobs, especially if you have insurance, you can afford to get therapy through what we call EAP. You can get free therapy for a couple of sessions. It varies between 2 to 6 sessions or whatnot. Use your insurance. Also, if you Google, there's other foundations that will that will help pay for your therapy, because we want to see more Black and Brown people in therapy. Also, if you're looking for a medication, I always refer people to go to your PCP because it's a cheaper option than going to a psychiatrist or a nurse practitioner. So those are some options. A milestone is I will be graduating with my doctorate degree, but I can't call myself doctor. In June, so I'm really excited about that. But a quote that I live by, I saw it on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and it said, "God gave you that dream for a reason," and that has just kind of been my way of like solidifying, like believing in yourself, do the things that are put on your heart. So I want to challenge and encourage you all. God gave you that dream for a reason.
Oh, I love that.
Shout out to you, Doc.
Thank you.
Okay. So I am in private practice. Very excited about that. So, if you would like to connect with me, you can on Instagram at Find Your Upside CS. And that CS is short for counseling services. So, I actually 2 weeks ago just graduated and received my doctorate. So, shout out to you, Dr. D.
Shout out to you, Dr.
So excited about that. That has been really May has been super special this year. So that's a recent accomplishment, and I'm just literally working on building my private practice, and I'm excited about that. And if I had to say a quote that I try to live by, um, be the rainbow in somebody else's cloud.
Yes, love that.
So I feel
Yeah,
like
we
that's
do.
how I try to live. So yeah,
Dr. Ebony, with your private practice, do you take insurance or anything, or is it
I'm
copays?
private pay. I'm private pay.
Okay,
Insurance,
so
I appreciate it just for other like platforms that I use, but it's sticky. It's
Mhm.
sticky. So that's kind of like my take on it. But still, Dr. D gave some great resources. So take her advice on it. But as for me, currently, I don't take insurance as of now. I'm only private pay.
and private pay is you pay
Out
out
of
of pocket basically. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Well, I just want to thank both of y'all for taking time out to grace us with y'all's presence and drop the knowledge that y'all drop with us here on Herc's What Today. Um, like when I do these mental health episodes, it really hits home for me just because it's something that we don't talk about a lot in our community. And as we coming out of the pandemic, as we're getting stronger and better, these are these are the resources and tools that we'll need to make ourselves better as a community and as a people.
Yeah.
um so I really hope that y'all took something from this episode that y'all can implement in your way of life, whether it be setting healthy boundaries, knowing that it's okay to not be okay, using your EAP, going to get a therapist, whatever it is, I hope that something was said on this show that impacted you to take that first step to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say anything, um, but because when and it kind of coincides with Dr. Ebony. So in 2020, I lost my dad to chronic or congestive heart failure. And as I was scrolling through my phone looking for a phone number today, I was going through my voicemails and I thought I didn't. The one thing that I always was like, I wish I had something with my dad's voice on it just to, like go back and listen to. And as I was looking for this number, I came across a voicemail that he left me back in 2020. And
Mm,
it was kind of like, damn, like I didn't know I had this.
Yeah.
So grief is one of them things where it kind of hits you when you least expect it.
Yeah.
mhm,
So hearing his voice and kind of just being at peace, like, I know he's not here, but I know I got something now that I can kind of go back and hear, when the times are a little rough. So that's one. Two, um, and this is Dr. Ebony again. Um, like this weekend, I think I've had like uh, at least two anxiety attacks and a panic attack. And being in therapy, it was like I I didn't know what it didn't click at first as to what was going on. But when it finally did click, I was like, okay, I had the tools to be able to deal with it and handle it to the point where I didn't have to call my therapist like, hey, what do I do?
mhm,
I knew, hey, close your eyes, relax, get to your space, take that, like, because I was at work, like, hey, I gotta go home. And it was literally coming home, taking a nap that calmed me all the way down to the point I was like, okay, I can deal with that. And
mhm.
I feel like without therapy, somebody would have got slapped that day. Like, just not gonna lie to y'all. Like somebody would have got their feelings hurt,
Yeah.
left out. But something as simple as remembering the things that I was taught in therapy and actually talking to therapists
Mhm.
has helped me get to the point where it's like, this is how you're gonna deal with this. It's gonna be okay. You're in a good space. So
I love that.
therapy works. I will say that.
Hashtag.
Ha-
Yes.
Hashtag
And then
therapy
can
works.
I also add for you, Herc, if you can go to Build a Bear and get the voicemail put in a phone in a bear. So
Yeah.
therefore, just in case you get a new phone,
Yeah.
or I
Or
would also
email it to
suggest
yourself.
downloading it and emailing it to yourself. So therefore, if you get a new phone or something happens and it accidentally gets deleted, like you'll have it.
I
We
like
gonna
I
get
like to consider those as like God winks.
Yeah,
Something special just for you. Like that was so needed. So
yeah.
I'm
And then with
happy.
Father's Day coming up, like you can listen to, if you listen to it all day, that's
Yeah.
your world. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
that was it. So that was my moment of transparency and honesty with y'all. And letting y'all know that hashtag therapy does work.
Yeah.
Um, if you're watching this on YouTube, as always, above my head, if y'all can see that, commercial spot start at $25. You want to promote your business, your event, um, your podcast. You leaving your baby mama, you leaving your baby daddy. You want to tell your baby daddy he ain't shit, but happy Father's Day. Whatever you want to do that. Commercial spot start at $25. Um, June, because when y'all hear this, it'll almost be June. Um, June is Black Music Month, so I got a couple things planned for that. I've never really done like a Juneteenth episode, so maybe we'll do something like that.
No R. Kelly.
You can have fun without R. Kelly. It's possible.
No, you gotta step in the name of love.
No, when
No?
I got married in November, I told the DJ, I said, play anything but R. Kelly, and we had a hallelujah good time.
But
No,
hey, okay. No stepping in the name of love.
but you know what you can't do that Cupid shuffle. That to me it is
Little wobble.
Little Wobble, the new song, the Flex. There's
Man,
plenty
you
of
do all that.
dances you can do.
But no, we're gonna for June, I know we're gonna do a Black Music Month episode. I'm thinking about doing a Juneteenth episode to kind of just highlight what Juneteenth really means. Of course, June is also Pride Month, so we will celebrate. I always get it wrong, but our LGBTQI
Yes.
is it? Yeah, we'll celebrate them.
On the end?
Huh?
Isn't it an A on the end?
Yeah, it is. A plus.
Yeah, y'all know. No offense, but y'all know what I meant. Like it's a lot of letters, and my y'all know I drink, and it's probably fried my brain cells. But we'll most definitely celebrate that community in June. So as always, if you don't work, you don't eat. You got to crawl if you can walk before you can run, and man, run before you can fly. And so the next time you see my face or hear my voice, remember, T-Pain's a goat, and that if you don't agree with that, you can probably go kick rocks. Also, I don't have to be your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, but I am. And if she does not agree, she's probably not the one for you, and y'all should break up. So
Jesus,
we don't leave it at that.
Right.
Until the next time, I love y'all. Herc out.
You are now walking in the Hurts world. You are now walking into Hurts world. Aye.